As one of the busier fight weeks for sure. Because of the magnitude of this fight.
But stylistically, Manny has always done really well with taller fighters. The guys who gave him the most trouble were the guys who were eye-to-eye with him.
Mario Barrios is stepping into a spotlight few dare to face against a legend who defies age, history, and expectations. But as we inch closer to fight night, the narrative is slowly shifting. Manny Pacquiao may be a boxing icon, but he is also a 46-year-old man preparing to take on a relentless, hungry opponent in his prime. Barrios is not approaching this bout like just another opportunity. No, he sees this as a career-defining moment to carve his name into boxing's legacy by chopping down one of the sport's most celebrated figures. In this video, we'll break down 7 powerful quotes from both Barrios and Botters, unpacking their significance and explaining why momentum is increasingly leaning toward Mario. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a breakdown from Box Club where the real fight analysis lives. Mario Barrios recently mentioned that he's been unusually busy in the weeks leading up to the fight. At first glance, that might sound ordinary for a boxer before a big match, but when you consider the context, it shows just how seriously Barrios is taking this challenge. He's not just training harder, he's immersed in the magnitude of the moment. That urgency tells us something very critical. Mario is mentally ready, and in boxing, where psychology often trumps even physicality, that edge could mean everything. For someone as seasoned as Manny, who may not have the same urgency after decades in the sport, this level of hunger from Barrios becomes a very real threat.
As one of the busier fight weeks for sure. Because of the magnitude of this fight.
Barrios didn't mince words when he declared it's almost time to chop him up. That statement alone tells us this isn't going to be a respectful dance in the ring. It's going to be a calculated, aggressive dismantling attempt by a man who believes he has the tools to dominate. Barrios is essentially saying he's done preparing, and now it's time to execute the plan. The mention of the weigh-in followed by the fight creates a mental countdown, a psychological trigger that he's entering the final phase of war preparation. In his mind, he already sees a fight in phases make weight, show up, break him down. Barrios is prepared to set the pace, and that's a dangerous sign for an aging veteran.
Like you said, we're 2 days away. We got tomorrow, and a weigh-in, then there's a time to strap it.
Mario Barrios also emphasized his training longevity by pointing out that he's been a professional for 12 years. That's not just a statement about time it's a resume declaration. 12 years means experience, maturity, and most importantly, durability. It means Barrios is not some flash-in-the-pan upstart. He's seasoned. He survived the highs and lows of boxing, and he's arriving at this moment with the patience and depth that only comes from time inside the ring. There's a tendency to underestimate fighters who haven't reached superstar status. But Barrios is laying down a case that he's no longer in the learning phase of his career. He's ready to apply everything he's ever learned. And Pacquiao might be the unfortunate recipient of that culmination. Many forget that professional longevity builds more than skill, it builds ring IQ. And Barrios' understanding of timing, distance, and discipline may be peaking just as Manny's tools begin to erode. Pacquiao, despite all his greatness, hasn't faced a younger, in-prime fighter like Barrios since returning. That's where the danger lies. Barrios has the knowledge and the youth. Combined, that makes him a lethal threat to someone in their mid-40s, regardless of legacy.
I've been on top of it for a while. I've been doing this now been professional now for 12 years.
Chris Algieri gave a nuanced take when he evaluated Manny Pacquiao's chances. He said it really depends on which version of the 46-year-old legend shows up. That comment carries weight because Algieri is not just a former opponent of Manny. He's a seasoned analyst who understands the physical demands of the sport. Saying it depends is a red flag. It means there's real concern about consistency. Manny has been through countless wars, spanning numerous weight classes, and although that experience is invaluable, it also exacts a brutal toll. No fighter walks through fire for decades without scars. Algieri's words echo the worry that if Pacquiao comes in anything less than perfect, he could be in serious trouble. And even if he does come in optimal shape, it still might not be enough. Barrios is fresher, sharper, and less worn down. Age in boxing is more than just a number. It affects speed, reflexes, stamina, and recovery. So when a respected voice like Algieri says it depends, it's because he sees the fine line Manny is walking between greatness and vulnerability. That line is getting thinner by the day, and Barrios is planning to take full advantage.
I mean, simple answer, yes. But it just depends. It depends what version of that 46-year-old we're getting. Manny's had a lot of tough fights. He's had a long career. He's been in a lot of weight classes. He's fought much bigger men a lot of his career.
Another powerful voice in this conversation is that of Regis Prograis, who didn't hesitate to praise Mario Barrios as being the truth. That kind of acknowledgement from a fellow elite fighter isn't handed out lightly. Prograis sees what many others are beginning to notice Barrios is a legitimate, high-level contender who's starting to come into his own. When a respected name like Regis gives a stamp of approval, it not only boosts Mario's credibility, but also places Pacquiao in a much more dangerous position. Regis has shared the ring with top-tier fighters and knows what championship potential looks like. If he says Barrios is real, it means Barrios is packing power, skill, and mental toughness, all in one package. This quote shifts the fight narrative even more toward Barrios being not just a worthy opponent, but potentially the favorite in terms of momentum. And think about it, Barrios already has size, youth, and activity on his side. Now he's also gaining validation from respected names in the sport. That mental backing can embolden a fighter, make him sharper in the ring, and more daring when opportunities come. Regis support may be subtle to casual fans, but to insiders, it's a huge deal and could signal a major upset in the making.
But listen, if anybody can do it, man, it's Manny. Manny is special. He is a one of one. There's never been a Manny Pacquiao. There will never be another Manny Pacquiao. So that nostalgia in my mind gives me hope that he actually could go out there and do it again. I mean,
Keith Thurman, another familiar name in Pacquiao's story, made a revealing statement when he said Mario Barrios would definitely bring the pressure. This insight is especially meaningful because Thurman has fought both of these men. He knows exactly what Manny brings in terms of angles, footwork, and relentless energy. At the same time, he understands Barrios' ability to apply intelligent aggression. So when Thurman says Barrios is going to bring pressure, it's not just a prediction, it's a warning. Pressure is one thing, but effective, calculated pressure is another. Thurman is implying that Barrios will not be reckless. He'll push the pace with a purpose. And against an aging fighter like Pacquiao, constant forward momentum can be suffocating. Pacquiao used to be the one pressing, making opponents backpedal and crumble, but the dynamics have shifted. Barrios is younger, more active, and now has the psychological advantage of being the aggressor. If he starts strong and forces Manny to react instead of lead, it's going to be a long night for the veteran. Thurman's quote essentially paints a picture of Barrios not just surviving, but dictating the action round after round. And if that happens, the upset becomes a very real possibility.
but stylistically, Manny has always done really well with taller fighters. The guys who gave him the most trouble were the guys who were eye to eye with him.
Even the most loyal fans of Manny Pacquiao couldn't ignore the statement from Jamal Herring, who questioned what Pacquiao even has left. This quote isn't meant to disrespect Manny's legacy. It's a reflection of boxing reality. Herring's comment cuts straight to the core issue: time. At 46, the body no longer responds the way it used to. Training camps are harder. Injuries linger. And worst of all, the reflexes that once made you untouchable begin to betray you. Herring's observation highlights the brutal truth that legends are not immune to age. For Barrios, this kind of talk feeds confidence. If respected fighters are publicly questioning what Pacquiao still brings to the table, it reinforces the idea that the icon may finally be vulnerable. Barrios doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs to be consistent and relentless. If Pacquiao is even slightly diminished, Barrios can exploit it, and that's the most dangerous part. Herring's question lingers in every fan's mind because it echoes what we all wonder when a great fighter keeps returning. Is this one fight too many? Barrios is counting on the answer to be yes.
Listen, the volume's probably not going to be there. The exceptional elite level footwork's not going to be there. But listen, that boxing IQ is going to be there. That timing probably won't be there because he's been out of the ring, but that's why he's got Freddie Roach. You got to work on it in the gym. So, it's going to be what version of that 46-year-old shows up.
Manny Pacquiao himself provided a window into his mindset during his interview when he reflected on how his 4-year break allowed his body to rest. He spoke with visible enthusiasm about rediscovering his passion, speed, and love for the sport, even saying that he feels good to be back and believes he can still fight. Barrios is preparing not for Pacquiao 2009, but for a version who's testing the waters after a long layoff. Yes, Manny still believes in himself, and belief is powerful, but when you're facing a younger, more active fighter who has been in the trenches recently, Belief needs to be backed by performance. The fact that Manny is publicly saying he still has that speed might signal internal doubts he's trying to suppress. It's an honest attempt to remind the world and maybe himself of what he once was. But Barrios won't be sentimental in the ring. He won't fight the legend. He'll fight the man in front of him. Pacquiao's love for the game is commendable, but whether that love can fuel him through 12 grueling rounds against a sharp and surging Barrios is still an open question.
I think about it that it's good for me to give my body rest. I able to rest for 4 years and now I'm back. The reason why I came back in boxing because I realized that I still have that passion, I still have that speed. I'm blessed. I feel happiness in my heart that I can come back here for a fight in Vegas. Nice. I mean, that's what I want.
Boxing is not about how you feel, it's about how you perform under real pressure. Pacquiao has always been one to pull off the unexpected, but the idea that he can rely on surprise alone to defeat Barrios could be dangerous. Surprises work when your opponent is unsure or inexperienced, but Barrios has faced adversity. He's been in against Gervonta Davis and Thurman. He's not going to be caught off guard by a flurry of punches or a quick sidestep. What's more concerning is that Pacquiao might be underestimating how much the game has changed since he last fought. While he's been away, the new generation has adapted, improved, and moved forward. He's training for war, and if Manny truly believes surprises will win him this fight, Barrios might be the one who delivers the biggest shot.
My body is like, I feel like young. I feel like young. I mean, you can see, like I said, I always bring surprises to the fans.
The stage is set for a showdown that could redefine careers. On one side stands Manny Pacquiao, a living legend whose name is etched in the history books. On the other, Mario Barrios, a hungry and dangerous contender with youth, size, and momentum on his side. Stay tuned with Box Up for post-fight reactions, breakdowns, and everything boxing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the conversation. This one's going to leave a mark.